If you've been in the XRP community for a while, you've probably heard the one theory that just never seems to go away. The idea that XRP could rocket all the way up to $500. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the mechanics behind this theory. What holds up, what doesn't, and most importantly, what it all means for active XRPL participants who are focused on building real value instead of just, staring at charts. Let's dive in. Okay, so you have to admit, the core idea behind this theory is pretty captivating. It suggests there's a path to this huge price that isn't just about speculation or random hype. Instead, it's supposedly based on the fundamental mechanics of how financial markets and liquidity actually work. And that's something that really resonated with investors who were looking for a little more substance. And right here, this is the really wild question at the heart of it all. Is it possible that a relatively small amount of money, we're talking less than $40 million, could be enough to push the price of a single XRP all the way to $500? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But the theory actually lays out a very specific mechanical path for how it could happen. Right, so this is the crucial thing to get. The original argument from Shane Ellis was never about a bunch of retail investors getting FOMO and causing a bull run. Nope. It was a functional argument focused completely on how thin liquidity on an exchange's order book could force a massive and super fast price jump when a big institutional buyer comes to play. So how in the world is this supposed to work? Well, the secret is all hidden inside an exchange's order book. This is the stage where the price explosion is supposed to happen. See, it's not about the total supply of XRP out there, but about what's available for sale right now, at this very second. Think of it like climbing a ladder. Some big institution places a massive buy order. This one order just eats through all the low-priced sell orders. Those are like the first few rungs of a ladder. To keep filling the order, the price has literally no choice but to jump up to the next available sell order, which might be way, way higher. Each step up that ladder is a huge price spike. And that brings us to the most shocking number in this whole theory. According to the original document, an analysis of the Bittrex exchange order book showed it would take just under $40 million to buy up every single sell order, all the way up to a price of $500 per XRP. I mean, that's a tiny amount in the grand scheme of global finance. Okay, so that sounds pretty incredible, doesn't it? But let's pump the brakes for a second. Does this super simple calculation actually hold up when you compare it to the messy, complex, multi-trillion-dollar reality of global markets? Now we have to step back from the theory and look at the bigger picture. Now, what's really interesting here is how it challenges a core assumption. The theory says you need a high price to create the liquidity for big transactions. But in the real world, that's not how it works. Liquidity doesn't come from a high price tag. It comes from deep participation, thousands of buyers and sellers all creating a really dense, active market. Let's just talk about scale for a moment. If XRP hit $500, the network's market cap would be a staggering $27.5 trillion. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire gross domestic product of the United States. A valuation that massive for a single asset is frankly a major red flag for how feasible this theory is in our current financial system. And the theory also kind of overlooks a few really key things. First off, there's something called token velocity, basically how quickly a single XRP can be reused. If it's high, a lower price can still handle huge transaction volumes. Then there's Ripple's on-demand liquidity, which just uses XRP as a quick bridge. For that to work, stability is way more important than a giant price. And finally, big institutions, they need predictability, and a sudden price explosion is the exact opposite of that. The Financial Matrix really summed it up perfectly in their analysis. They said, so can XRP reach $500? The mathematical answer is not under current market structure, it's wishful arithmetic. And that just grounds the whole conversation back in the hard numbers and the realities of the market today. But hold on. Just because the $500 number is probably a long shot, that doesn't mean the theory is useless. Actually, it contains a really powerful insight that helps shift our focus away from just the price and toward the real path to value for any digital asset. And this, right here, is the core takeaway. The real value of a network isn't some speculative price target, it's utility. Value follows real-world usage and actual adoption. The price just becomes a reflection of all that activity. And that suggests the best strategy isn't just passively holding, but actively participating in the ecosystem. This shift in perspective is exactly what empowers active XRPL participants. For communities like the XRP Tip Team, it's not about waiting around and hoping for a price pump. It's about accumulating through participation by introducing other people to self-custody with the Xaman wallet and creating infinite tip streams in the process. So the difference in strategy here is absolutely crucial. It's not about holding and hoping some old theory comes true. It's about accumulation through active, hands-on participation. Members of the XRP Tip Team community, for example, use the Xaman wallet to practice real self-custody, learning by doing, and then helping others do the exact same thing. And this brings the whole message right back to you. It completely reframes your role. You're not just a passive spectator waiting for some price event to happen. You can become an active builder who directly contributes to the network's value. Ultimately, I think the most powerful takeaway is this. The future of the network isn't something you just predict. It's something you build. Real value comes from the collective action of everyone who is actively using, sharing, and growing the ecosystem. So, if you feel ready to move from just passively holding to actively accumulating XRP by sharing your knowledge and participating in the ecosystem, you should definitely check out the community that's already building that future. You can learn a lot more at xrptipteam.com.